Hello everyone, welcome to the Pequeno pod with Señor Pequeños. If you want episodes early, bonus episodes, special guest interviews, and other perks, please consider supporting us on Patreon, which will give you all of those things for the price of one coffee cup per month. You can find us at patreon.com/pequenopod, Pequeno pod. Otherwise, enjoy this free episode, and I hope you have an awful day. We control nothing. And
our lives don't matter?
Yep,
this is our overarching theme of the podcast. Thank you for listening.
Everyone's like, Nick needs to come back and lighten the mood. This is getting depressing.
Yeah, where's Nick? He's going on vacation, okay?
You asked about the flooding. So for anyone who doesn't know, I live in St. Louis, and this whole area has been murdered with rain, because I think Kentucky, it's so bad that I think the death toll is like 8 now. So, you know what? We should look in the last episode. I bet we made some joke about floods, because we would be 5 for 5 on natural disasters that we've predicted. So, that's just our luck. Anywho, so it's pouring rain, and I worked from home on Monday when it was really bad, and there was like flooding and like water was up to car hoods and stuff. So I didn't get to see that, and thankfully I wasn't out in that.
It's like where you live right now? Like by the arches?
Yeah, so like I don't know. I bet I could look in the article and see, but I mean basically there were parts of I'm pretty sure parts of downtown and like northern downtown that were like, because it kind of
got flooded too.
Like it kind of bowls in, but I don't think it was that. It was not up to cars like in the city, but there were areas where it was that bad because I was seeing pictures and stuff. But St. Louis is pretty wide, so and they kind of you can go like 30 minutes west and they'll still call it St. Louis, so it's like I don't really know.
That's flooded. What I was figuring, because I was I was watching the news and it was just like it showed cars like totally submerged in water in like suburban areas, and my mom was like, "Don't you have a friend that lives in St. Louis?" And I was
not anymore. He's
and I was like, wait a damn minute. And then like you said you were just out at those fancy people's house like right before then, and I was like, how did he get there? The problem is that our highways are like, they're just kind of put where they are. They just kind of slapped them down. They were just kind of like a sheet being like furled out. No one really thought about flat roads or where the water would go. So you don't have like overpasses? It's just all on the ground? Oh, we have overpasses, but I mean like in Illinois, I mean they had construction for the entire time that I lived there, it felt like, but I never remember the roads like flooding. Like it was always like, I don't know, well made, I guess, to where like the water goes off the highway like it's supposed to, so you don't hydroplane going 70. But like in St. Louis, I feel like just because like they put the highway where they needed to, that it's just kind of like they're like, yeah, we have a dip there, and like so there's just like all the water pools there.
All the water pools in the middle of the highway, which I didn't know before because we haven't had rain this bad before. Because
like that's what the news was talking about. Because it was like my local news station. It was like, yeah, we're having record high heat right now during this heat wave, and they're like, and it normally rains here. Speaking of rain, and then that was like the transition into like just a massive flood, and I was like,
speaking of rain, I am up to my waist, Cheryl. What about you?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm on the highway today. The rain passed and went earlier this week. I thought we were done with the floods. Well, today was like the one day you have to go into work, which I think is silly. It's like I'll come in 2 days a week, if I need to, but like let me pick, instead of having like a mandatory day, because today I knew from the moment I woke up this morning, I was like,
tornado.
Yeah, when the moment I woke up, the weather was like thunderstorms all afternoon until midnight, and I was like, today is not a day to leave my house, but we did. So it's like 2 p.m. or 2:30. I get out of a meeting, and I am looking at the weather radar, and I was like, I'm going home and working the rest from home. So I got in my car, and my rain sense is usually pretty good, but I missed it by like 10 minutes. So I had like 10-ish minutes of like sprinkling, and then it just poured when I was in the middle of this thing. And we really had to slow down, and I figured it was just to stop traffic, like someone had an accident. I was like, oh, I'm never getting home. Well, we kept moving. I was like, oh, good. Well, it's because there's a spot in the highway that just spreads across all 5 lanes that it's the deepest water I think I've ever driven through. I don't know if I was floating at a point.
There's like a fish next to you.
Well, some people didn't make it out, so you just have like random whatevers. Yeah, like Mario. There's like they just die. No, so like
they didn't make it.
Yeah, so thankfully I made it through this Honda Accord, man. We've had our struggles, but
we're like, shout out Honda Accord.
Shout out my Honda Accord, man. Holy shit, that pupper brought me home. So get out of that thing, which was terrifying. But after that, I was like, okay, we're good. Well, this was the scariest thing to me. I'm never going to forget this now. A semi at the really bad part of the water, a semi was coming on the off-ramp going way too fast because it didn't know what was going on. And it just plows into what must have been just a really shitty on-ramp. And just an actual wave of water that blocks my vision comes, and I'm in like the middle lane, so it doesn't hit me, but the car in the far right lane closest to it washes into the next lane. The car literally scooched over because the water pushed it into the next lane. That's how much water there was.
Oh my God,
so
tsunami.
I see that, and because I'd like to think I'm a really good driver. My brain knows that there's like 2 inches of space between me and the person in the left lane behind me. They're not in my lane, but I have to get over or else I'm going to get hit with something. So I quick over and like, I'm fine. I missed the wave and everything, but like for a second there, I was like, my life is over.
Oh my God, Splash
It was
Mountain.
terrifying. I was like, everything's good now. And then the semi just...
You're like, what the Jesus is that? You know what? That's why God sent a flood this week, because you went to Bible study. He was like, stay away.
So I went into the small group, and like I'm very much like the second I know it's not gonna work, like I'll just go, because why waste my time?
You just stand up in the middle of it. They're like, and Daniel,
like this.
What do you think about this passage right here? And then you just stand up.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. You're like, no. I think no. And then just leave.
I think.
Yeah. And then you flip them off, and then you're like, deuces.
I put on my sunglasses, but no, this one was actually good. And I was like, okay, getting some good vibes. I'll stick around. But you can tell immediately, even if people are nice, when they're like goody two shoes, and those are also people I don't like to be around. So, and that's not the case here. Like, I'm sure there was definitely a couple, I was definitely probably the most, non-filtered of the people there, but because when I'm nervous I cuss more, as you
you immediately went in just like full-on cussing.
Fuck.
Yeah. And you're like, but I don't say the Lord's name in vain, guys, it's okay.
We made up the words fucking shit. Who cares? It's just another word. Who decided that shit was gonna be worse than crap? I don't understand.
Word?
No one gives a
It's fine. My mom used to cuss all the time when I was like a baby, I guess, and then like when she realized I started understanding words, she was like, oh man, because I think my third word was shit, so she was like, I failed.
Of course it was, because of you.
I failed.
I'm not even surprised.
I'm pretty sure she said it was like mom, mama, dada, shit, and then Elmo. So
shit Elmo.
Yeah.
Okay,
but it was
she's
more
broken.
like a baby saying it, like shit, like that, and like my mom was like, hold on, because like,
what are you, fucking drunk, baby? You're like,
yeah,
shit.
Stupid babe, shit. Like
shit.
Yeah, she was like shampooing my hair or whatever in like those little baby bathtub things. Yeah, and then she dropped the whole bottle of soap in the tub and was like, shit, as she dropped it, and I guess I just kept repeating it over and over again, and like,
so babies actually do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, they always do that in movies, but I'm like, the baby doesn't know it's a cuss word. This is so staged. But I mean, yeah,
it's
apparently
so
it happens.
staged. Well, I don't know, because maybe it was like so abrupt and so interesting. It kind of is like, oh, you don't hear anything like that, and the baby's like, oh, that's cool. Oh. Like, you normally, like, I'm
gonna write that down.
Yeah, your mom and dad are normally like up in your face, like, mama, dada,
dada. Fuck you.
yeah, and then like, she drops something like right in my face.
Shit bag.
Yeah, and then she says that stuff, and I'm like, oh, she said it in a really interesting way. I better write that one down.
Tuck that away.
And then I kept saying it, and then I guess she brought me over to my grandma's house, and like all my cousins were over there, and they're like all like tweens and teens at this point. And then I was just sitting there like, shit. And like, oh man, my mom's sisters and my grandma were like, bruh. And my cousins thought it was hilarious, but they were like, Jerry, why did you have a child?
That's so funny.
You've already broken her.
I still remember the first time my dad like cussed at me, like, because like we never touched that stuff, right? And I mean, I don't think I used. You would think from the way I cuss now that I've always done it, but I legitimately didn't start swearing until junior year of college. I was playing basketball junior year of college, missing a layup and going, frick. Like,
frick, Frank.
Yep. Then everything changed. But anyway, like, I just remember, I forget when before that, but like when your dad realized that you were old enough and you just did something stupid enough that required him to like he looked at me and he was like, you get your damn head on straight. And I was like, oh, holy shit.
No.
Or I guess it was like, holy crap. He just used a swear word.
Yeah, you're like, holy
or he was like, get your shit together or something like that. Like, it wasn't like anything horrible, but I was like,
oh, he mad.
This man isn't my father.
You're like, I'm running away.
I'm running away to a place where they don't use those words.
Yeah.
Spends one night on the street and comes back. I've learned so many words.
I've learned so many words.
I've also taken many drugs.
Yeah. I've been touched many places. I want to go home.
I've been touched in my shithole, so I was told.
So I just learned a new word.
I just learned a new word. Ass rape. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. You're like,
Pain.
my family. You're like, I am the failure of the family and everything is my fault. But then, like, when your dad said shit, you're like, oh my god. This is worse than anything else they've ever said to me.
Anyway, that was all building for me to say that, like, so... Anyway, like, it's good vibes. I'm feeling good. I'm, like, talking, I'm like, okay, But anyway, at some point, I hate when, like, people ask you to read anything, because it's like, we can all read. It's not third grade anymore. Like, no one's having trouble with this. We don't need to, like, check on them and make sure they can read. But whatever. So she
Daniel,
was, like...
will you read this passage?
Yeah, so it's nothing against her. I think that's hokey. But yeah, so she was like, you take these two, and Daniel, why don't you take the last two?
Oh god, they're assigning you ones beforehand. That makes me just like hyper-focused on mine. Because I'm like, oh my god, what am I going to say about my part? Because they're going to say, alright, what did you just read? Because when I read it, it's just like, I'm not paying attention to anything. All I'm doing is like sitting there pretending not to sound stupid. Because in first grade... Okay,
oh, here we go.
This is the start. This is the start. Okay, they used to be like,
this is the start of all her problems.
Yeah, like every kid gets like a paragraph, and then I was like looking ahead to my paragraph, and I was like, okay, and I was like practicing it over and over again before it was my turn, and then like two kids ahead of me were like, I can't do it, and so then I had to read like two paragraphs, and I didn't practice the second one, and I come across the word fucking stethoscope. You think a first grader?
I thought you said you came across the word fucking, and I was like,
no, oh my god, yeah, whoa, yeah. It was a story about ants, and the word stethoscope was in that little short story, and who thought a first grader could read the word stethoscope?
Oh my goodness.
I was mortified. Oh my god, I was so embarrassed. I got to that word and I was like, after all the other words were ant and like the ant.
Ant.
Yeah, exactly. I was having like a little stroke.
Oh,
I was so embarrassed, and like,
what did the teacher do?
Like, I was literally just sitting there like, the ant went on a walk, and then they went to the doctor's office, and they used a and then the teacher was like, okay, that's a hard word. That is a hard word.
Okay, you're just stupid. It's fine. We'll
yeah, exactly. I was like, no!
I can do it!
Yeah, I was like, I can get through it. I can get and then it was like, oh man,
the ant went to the ant went to
yeah. I was like, are you serious? Why is this word like 4 times the length of any of the other words in this story. Yeah, and then, like, I straight up was like, oh, I don't think I know that word. And my teacher was like, oh, it's that thing at the doctor's office when they put it up to their ears and they put the cold circle thing on your chest and go, bump, 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 bump. It checks your heartbeat. And I was like,
it's, when you go to the doctor and he grabs, your thing here and he puts the thing on and you're like, whoa, what?
Whoa,
Excuse me?
Actually, my real doctor. My childhood
doctor. No kidding. Basically every woman's doctor, unfortunately.
Terrible. Anyways,
Awful.
Go back to your reading and Bible study.
No, I just meant, so, like, she was like, what? Daniel, can you take these last 2? And I was just kind of caught off guard. And I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, hell yeah, dude. And I immediately, if someone was looking at me, I don't think anyone was, but I think Chelsea may have. And I think, like, right after I said that, you could see me go, like, I immediately knew that was the dumbest thing I've ever said. But
you just put your face, like, in the Bible, and you're like, yep.
Anyway. Then he prayed in the garden.
Yep. And then, you guys are just reading the entire Bible. Can
you start, Daniel, can you do Genesis 1:1 to, like, Revelation 2? Like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, fuck yeah. Fucking hell yeah, dude. She's like, okay, we get it. No, fucking hell fucking shit yeah, bitch. I'm gonna
like,
fucking read
right.
this.
I guess this guy has Tourette's.
And I'm like digging a hole for myself. I'm like, no Tourette's. I'm choosing to say these things. And they're like,
I'm choosing.
All
this
right.
Is my choice. Yeah, I hate that Judas is like a cool name.
Yeah. No, why did the coolest disciple have to betray Jesus? What the fuck?
Yeah, for real. Why is he got the coolest name? Everybody else is like Peter, John, Luke, and you're like, oh, Snoozeville. Boring.
Your church is like, you're just reading the Bible and you're just like, boo. Judas comes out, everyone's like, ooh.
Lady Gaga starts playing in the background. Oh my god, monkey.
I love how you have to say it out loud. You're like, whoa, monkey.
Monkey!
Now whenever you see a stethoscope, you're like, it's stethoscope. And they're like,
yes. And they're like, you're right. Yes.
I don't know if I told you this. Wholesome podcast experience. So I'm on the train editing last week's episode, which, I mean, it usually takes me maybe like, I think it takes me like 5 hours usually. It takes me the train rides there and back. So, and the train rides are 3 hours each, and I'm not working on it the whole time, so it's probably 5. Anyway, so I like always sit on the outside seat. I will never offer my seat unless absolutely necessary, like the one that's next to me. Like I want my space, and there's always room, right? It's not like if someone asks, I'll get up, but I mean, like, I'm not gonna be like, hey, come on over here, guys. Like,
everybody come on down.
Ain't gonna be
talk to people.
Come sit in my lap. And like, no.
I'm lonely.
Yeah, well, so anyway, I'm sitting there, like, starting to edit, and like a family walks by, like looking for seats somewhere else. I kind of saw them out of the corner of my eye. Well, they come back like 5 minutes later, kind of talking, and it sounded like they were trying to find seats together, but they couldn't. And they didn't have like tiny kids. I wouldn't
They're
have
panicking.
said
Babies
shit.
are crying. Everyone's screaming.
Babies
the
are
train
crying.
Is derailing
Shit
again.
is falling. Yeah. Oh goodness. But so anyway, but they have like old enough kids, and like I don't know. I got a good vibe from the family like within 5 seconds. So I was like, hey, like said to the dad, like if you guys need the seat, it's open. They were like, oh, thanks. We're gonna try to sit together. Well, they couldn't find any place, so they're kind of sitting in our area. So he comes back and he was like, hey, can I have that seat? And I was like, yeah, sure.
You're like, no.
This long
you
way
said
of
no
saying
the
this.
first time.
Yeah, no. What's what you said? My seat wasn't good enough before, asshole.
Yeah.
By the way,
You
download
already
our
rejected
podcast.
me. Yeah. You give him a sticker,
anyway.
one of our stickers.
I stick it right on his face and be like, no, I am not giving you my seat. Go get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Leave.
This is the editing corner for the celebrities.
Yeah, celebrity!
Excuse me, do you know who I am? Well, if you knew, you wouldn't want to sit next to me, okay? Just like, no.
I'm famous.
I'm actually famous. I can't even joke. It's so bad. So anyway, this guy sits next to me on the train. I like them. They genuinely were. They just in 5 seconds, I was like, I like these people, and I very rarely am like feeling safe enough to bring other people into my fucking sphere, you know? So, anyway, he sits next to me.
Yeah, I'm so comfortable.
So anyway,
right now.
you're
Are
hot.
You
his wife is looking at me like, okay, well.
And then she's like, continue.
Actually, keep going, kids. Look away.
Kids, actually, you're gonna have to find your own seats.
If this guy's listening to our podcast right now, he's like, I hate this. I hate this, actually.
I hate this now.
I hate this now.
I'm sorry, sir.
And anyway, so this guy, everybody was really nice, really sweet. So he sits next to me. He kind of falls asleep for a while. I didn't think he noticed what I was doing. But anyway, I'm editing for the next 3 hours or some shit. And then we get to we get to wherever we were going to. I was coming back home. So we were in St. Louis. And the train usually just keeps going. So we never have any time. Well, this time, I think it was continuing on west. So they had like 30 minutes to play around and whatever, jerk off. And so, we can more slowly get off the train. Well, so he like pauses me, and I think he was asking if I was using a specific editing software, because he kept saying something like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Huh?" I feel so bad. I hate having to ask people to say things again because I just sound like an idiot. But I'm like, "Sorry, what?"
Everyone
and he says it again. He says it again.
Like,
I'm like, "Sorry, what?" I had to do it again, and he was like, "You're editing something," and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "I understand now." But I was like, yeah, no, I was just editing some stuff, and he was like, "What were you editing?" And I was like, "Oh, well, actually, I was editing our podcast. We have a podcast that we do," and he was like, "Oh, what's that?" You know, and we kind of have a short conversation, and I was like, "Oh, it's, you know, relaxed comedy, as we always say around here, you know, but I mean, I was like, yeah, it's a couple of me and my friends, and we get together every couple weeks, and we record just a couple hours. We talk about shit. And we're like, yeah, we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives, day-to-day things that we think are funny in the news. And he was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, he's got kids with him, so I add in. I'm like, oh, and it's like, you know, it's adult stuff, you know, like language and things. And he was like, I got it. And like as I'm packing up, he's, I guess, looking it up, which I didn't expect. But anyway, he's looking up and he's like, oh, so you're a comedian. And I was like, oh, I don't think about that. And he was like, well, it says here you're a comedian. And I was like, oh, well, you know, if Apple Podcast says it, then it's got to be right. And we like kind of had a, you know. Now sleep with me.
Yes.
No,
I
so
am
like,
funny.
and like he like asked the name, and I said, oh, it's pronounced Señor Pequeños because it's this nickname my Spanish teacher gave me when I was like 13, and it's stuck ever since then.
He's like, oh, it's in Spanish.
Yeah. I was asking him. I genuinely actually wanted to talk to him, so I was like, oh, where are you guys going? You know, oh, you know, that sounds fun, and blah blah blah. And then as I'm getting off, he's like, have a nice day, Mr. Señor Pequeños. And I was like, that's adorable. And he was like, I'll have to listen to it. And I was like, like I didn't know whether or not to be like,
You're like, oh, thank you, wholesome man. And then you're like,
maybe don't. Yeah, as soon as I got off the train, in my brain, as soon as I walked off the train, he starts listening. He's like, oh.
His ears start bleeding.
He tells his wife, he's like, I'm leaving you guys. He just gets up and walks off the train. They're like, George.
He walks in front of the train. The kids are like, Daddy, no!
He just straight up like pulls himself out the window and like,
oh my god!
The cops are there afterwards, like, all right, what's the last thing he was doing before he died? And she was like, oh, he was listening to this podcast from a Señor Pequeños.
Yeah, true.
And they look at the cameras and they're like, so he was the last person that talked to George before he died. Seems a bit suspicious.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna get cops pounding on my door at 2 a.m. I'm gonna have a fucking panic attack. And it's gonna be a whole thing. Anyway, so this guy, if you for some reason ever listen this far, which there is a 0.005% chance that you do, you guys were really nice. So fun, wholesome conversation. It was cute.
I had no idea it takes you 5 hours to edit these. I just thought you like slapped them together and then cropped out whenever we said something really stupid.
No, I listened to the whole thing, and I have to like, because we talk over each other a bunch, so I try to like make it sound pretty. Or like if someone's got something in the background in the audio, I have to cut out like every time they're not talking, so that doesn't like, you know, do anything. Even if he hates this podcast, even if he immediately like walked away from that, it was like, well, he was a nice guy, but I mean, that podcast was fucking awful. Yeah, he's a freak. But even if that's what he thinks, he can
Good
still say I met him and he was a nice guy, and that's that's hopefully my goal there with that. That was a
Dude,
fun
Daniel's
little
been killing it
thing.
in the socializing aspect lately. Yeah, good interactions with strangers. You know, I've been trying to like apply for jobs, just like really easy stuff around the area that I can walk to, and like every single one.
You can walk to? How much shit can you walk to? I guess you're in Seattle. But,
yeah, and then I'm in the suburbs, but like, I'm like, all right, I'll try to get jobs around here, and they're like, please, we're so desperate, anyone, and then like I apply, and I'm like, hey, so I saw like you needed somebody, if you need anyone, like you literally are just a few blocks from my house. I'm available all times, all days, and then like they didn't respond for 5 days, and they were like, position's been filled, thanks for the inquiry. And I was like, ah! And like everything was just like mega typos everywhere in that like one sentence thing, and I was like, this is so professional.
Yeah, no, like, these people that are desperate for jobs, I'm sure they get like 100 people, and they're just like, pick the first competent person that walks through the door, and then they have to just shit out 90 emails that are like, we got it. But I mean, it's nice you actually got an email. Like, job rejections almost never send an email back.
Well, like, this one isn't even, like, a serious job. It was for the local community pool in my neighborhood. It was literally, it's to check people in. So, like, you don't do anything. You literally sit on your phone all day, and then people come in, and you say, oh, hi, can you write down your address and phone number? And
hi, you look hot in that.
No.
Anyway.
And then you write how many people they bring in. It's like, oh, okay, 4. Yeah, I used to go to that pool all the time when I was a kid, and I was so intimidated by the lifeguards, because they were always, like, the hottest people. Like, yeah. Like, literally, like, Baywatch, like, girls and, like, super buff dudes, and I was like, what? And you know, now there's no lifeguards there. It would have just been me
There's
working
no lifeguards?
There. Yeah, it's like swim at your own risk.
There's Zoom meeting. Our lifeguard zooms in today. Someone's drowning. They're just speaking through a speaker like, just, flap your arms. Or, no, don't suck in the... Okay, and he's dead. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, back to the regular scheduled music.
Yeah, see, that would have been me. Like, if I was at the desk, there could be a child drowning, and, like, I'd be like, I'm not a lifeguard.
I'm not leaving the 3-foot section of the pool.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's deep down there.
Yeah, that's scary for me.
But I kind of wish we did have like a city pool, like where, everybody was. That would have been nice. But like all the time I was growing up, it was like a, Halloween murder pool. And then I forget when they renovated it and everything. And the fucking the fucking White Castle shooter went to our pool, I guess, when he was like younger. But I mean, people were like, yeah, I remember him coming to the pool because he'd be making like death threats to people and he'd be doing all crazy things. And I was like, and no one said anything. Oh, that's just, Jerry. I don't fucking know what his name was, but
that was like the guy in my high school who like killed a guy like 2 weeks after we graduated. We were like, huh?
Jeez.
That guy was this guy. I remember freshman year, I was sitting next to him in English, and he's just sitting there playing, like, a first-person shooter on his laptop. I don't remember what one it was, and my teacher, Miss Best, was like, all right, time to shut it down, and he was like, no, and, like, she's like, and I'm just sitting there.
Okay, I just shit myself.
Yeah.
Someone get the stethoscope.
Yes, she's like, okay, and she just kind of like ignored him, and he's sitting there playing, and he has it just like on full volume while she's like lecturing, and so like eventually she's like, okay, that's enough, and then he's like, I don't even want to be here right now, and like she's like, okay, this is an honors class, like come on, like you can go to a different class at least, and he's like no, so he's sitting there like playing, and she comes over and she just like closes the laptop.
Good
and
for her.
Yeah, it's like
surprised she didn't get stabbed in the throat.
Yeah, and then he's just sitting there like his hair is like in his face and he's like mumbling. He's
of course, he's.
I'm gonna do it. One of these days I'm gonna do it. And I'm like.
So what was the story after that? So you guys ended school and he just straight up killed someone?
Yeah. So we graduated.
Who did he kill?
So there was a guy whose family owned like a little corner store type thing, I think, and this guy like stole some candy from there or something, and he was friends with this guy, and so this isn't the shooter. This is a separate guy who was in
Oh,
another one
good.
of my classes. We've got the shooter. We got the shooter.
Okay.
We got another individual whose family owns like a corner store, and then his best friend who stole some like candy or whatever from the corner store, and like they had a falling out or whatever, and he's like, I don't want to be friends
Over
with you
candy.
anymore. Yeah, like I don't know.
I'm listening. Keep going.
Yeah, so, you know, it was like dumb high school stuff. And then the guy was just kind of like raging about it, and it was like, what, my family's like losing money, and like I guess he was really paranoid about them like
This candy's gonna save my family.
Yeah, like them going into debt or something. I don't know. And so then like he's like, that's it. Like I have a plan.
Jesse,
like
we need
like,
to cook.
Yeah, no, like he's like I need to get back at him. Like I need to get back at him. Will you help me? And then
So I'm gonna kill him?
yeah, and so no. So he asked the school shooter kid what he should do, and the school shooter kid who didn't even know.
And you're like, okay,
Yeah,
Jeremy,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that's enough
yeah.
out of you.
Yeah, his name's Sebastian. I'll just start saying his name because everybody knows who he is. He's in jail. He skipped out on like his court date stuff, and when he had a chance to get charged as a minor and everything, he was like, he just didn't show up, so he got charged as an adult. Like an idiot. Yeah, but anyways,
Like an
so
idiot. Like a murderer. So-
like the murderer he is. Yeah, so he was like we're gonna kill him, and he just had the whole plan. Like he came up with it all on his own, and the guy was just
There's
like,
not that much to the plan. It's to murder someone.
no,
Don't give him any credit.
No, you gotta listen to what his plan
Oh, okay,
was.
okay.
So he's not just a regular school shooter. He's a psycho arson.
Oh, okay.
He's a redhead. He's pretty.
What are we on,
fiery,
Deal or No
in
Deal?
fact. Yeah.
He's
so-
not just a regular murderer. He's also an arsonist.
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah, so I was just talking about this with my friend the other day, and like I was like, I can't believe like how nonchalantly everybody reacted to that. Like everyone was just like, yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. But like it's the fact that his friend was just like angry, and he's like, you know what, we're gonna do it. All right, we're gonna go with your plan. And then he's like, okay, yeah, I've been to the guy's house before. He has like a safe with all of his guns in it. I've seen him put in the code. I know what the code is. So they break in when the guy is sleeping, and just start typing in the safe, take all of his guns, and they go shoot him like I think like 10 times each when he's in his bed,
gosh.
like sleeping. So they just like obliterate this kid, and then
How old was the kid?
same age as us, I think, so like 18, 17, 18.
Jeez. Oh
And
my goodness.
so
Relaxed comedy, my ass.
yeah.
Anyway, keep
So
going.
then they catch the like RV on fire or whatever.
The guy was living in an RV with a gun safe?
Well, I don't know, like maybe a trailer park. I don't remember what. I think he lived in like a trailer park, like it was
Gotcha.
connected to a house or whatever. And
Okay.
so they caught the place on fire. Then they went on like a joyride and left, right? And then his girlfriend, you know, pulls up, and the place is just burning, and she's like panicking, like the guy who died's girlfriend. And this idiot dropped his wallet with his ID in the driveway.
Nice job.
Yeah, so she was like, and, you know, obviously her boyfriend's dead. Everything's on fire. She calls the police and was like, found
Yeah,
this.
we've established that. Thank you.
Yeah. So they're going on their joyride. They run out of gas. They are in front of like the Parks and Rec area, like one of the little parks.
I love that show. Sorry.
They see the vehicle for the people doing field maintenance still has the keys in the car running because the guy's just like grabbing like the trash or whatever to bring to the truck, and they go and they steal the, you know, the government vehicle, and they just start taking that for a joyride, and then they drive it to another field. And this girl I knew who was a year older than me, she was like, yeah, like my brother was at like soccer practice, and then like this car, and like at the very end of practice at like 8 o'clock at night, like they just start like doing donuts like in the middle of the field, and we're like, woo, to like the Parks and Rec car. We're like, whoa, they're going crazy over at Parks and Rec. And then like,
wait, you can see it?
I didn't see it, but this girl I knew saw it, and
okay.
she saw him. Like she didn't know who was inside the vehicle until like the report came out about what happened, and she was like, oh, I see. I recognize that guy. That was the guy doing donuts. Oh, he had just killed someone because he came up to them after, like, they were doing donuts because everybody was like, woo, yeah, and, he was like, hey, like, out the side of the car, and they're like, yeah, how's it going? And they're like, we're doing great, yeah, and then, like,
golly.
like they drove
They're
off, and then
nuts.
they started driving over to, where was Kurt Cobain from?
I don't know.
The town he was from is over by, like, the ocean.
Kurt Cobainville.
Kurt Cobainville, yeah, he lived in, shoot! It starts with an A. Now I
Doesn't
can't
matter.
remember.
Doesn't matter. Just move.
Doesn't matter. It's literally
I'm just saying.
a Cage. It's a Cage the Elephant song. Okay. That's why I'm trying to
Ooh.
remember this shit. Okay. Anyways, I just told you yesterday I like that band. Okay.
I know you did. You did.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, sorry. I have like a million trains of thought going on at
You're
once.
fine.
They're all derailing. They're all
Yep,
crashing.
that's fine.
Everyone's
They're all
dying.
as
Anyways.
they are in real life. We're predicting it.
And then, like, they, I think they just got caught speeding over in the area. So
That's why. Wait, so like,
Yep.
what initially, like, I mean, the wallet's not enough. I mean, what made
Like, they had to go find
they
him.
tie anything to this guy? Like, how'd they know it was him? Did he admit it?
It was the stolen vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Like, they pulled them over because they were speeding. They checked the plates, and it was a stolen vehicle. Absolute psychopath. Also, the girl
Well,
who
that's fun.
saw him, like, going on his little joyride, doing the donuts, that girl happened to be a very popular fan fiction writer, and she got, like,
Really?
millions of views on her story about Harry
Jeez.
Styles. So-
Wow.
Fun fact. And nobody
thanks.
knew it was her, like, from our school because she used,
Yeah.
like, a pen name, and then we noticed it said, like, Mr. Cleary, and it was, like, Mr. Cleary's class, and it was, like, describing, like, stuff at our high school, and we were like, hold the fuck up.
And there was this girl. She was very short, and she was always shitting all the time. You're like, hold
Yeah.
a minute.
Wait a minute, I'm in here? No way. Yeah, and then she punched Harry Styles.
Oh.
No, she didn't.
Oh, okay.
You're like,
you
"Whoa."
mean she, like, in the story that you would
Yeah.
punch Harry Styles? Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
it's
happen.
me.
You would do that.
I personally haven't read any, but of the people I talk to on the internet who are in the Adam Driver fandom, they're like, oh yeah, you should check out the Kylo Ren ones. Very steamy, very good, lots of force choking. And I'm like, okay, no, thank you.
So,
I'm like,
so porn can just basically do what Marvel Comics did, which is make 20 years of movies off of stuff that's already written.
that's what 50 Shades of Grey was. It was a fanfic of Twilight.
I remember everyone saying the movies were so bad, and I was like, how? It's not that hard, right? It's make them according
it's not
to
that
the
hard.
book.
He's just not hard.
It's the same as the book, but he can't get hard.
Yeah. That's
50
terrible.
soft shades of gray. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, get your dick up, man.
Get your dick up.
The whole movie, it's like it gets to every sexy part, and he's like, I mean, I can't.
He's like, I
And
can't
everyone's
do
like,
it.
fuck.
Boo!
Boo. Just giving everybody blue balls for 2 hours.
I only watched the last movie, and it was really bad. It was basically like one big like Lexus ad. They kept just like zooming in on the cars when they were driving, and like
Because I watched the
just
Honest
showing
trailer for it, and they were
you did?
they were making fun of it.
They just kept showing it, like, and we were like, "Are you serious?" And I went and saw it with like a bunch of my friends, and the theater was like totally empty except for this group of girls, and we were just like bashing the movie the whole time. Like I felt bad because
you
could
talked
tell.
about this. Yeah.
They were like girls' night, and oh my god.
And then you're in the back like, this is stupid.
Yeah, we're like, yo, booby. And like, like the movie, it's just so corny, and it's just like.
Well, and even for a movie about a fanfic, like there wasn't a lot of like nudity and stuff in there, was it? Like from what I heard. I'm pretty sure it was just like, I mean, it was very like a soft R-rated movie from what I heard.
Yeah, it's just like boring. The storyline is boring, and I guess like I didn't watch the first two, so I didn't really know what was happening in the third one.
I mean, you don't have a lot to catch up on, so.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. It was like this.
Isn't
really
there like a
weird,
murderer that comes in? The
yeah,
third one?
like Rita Ora. It's like the sister
Rita
of the...
Oral.
Yeah, that's her porn star name. Like, yeah, she's like I don't know, the main
Then I realized
guy.
I was watching porn in the theater by myself, and
yeah, but like I don't know, it's not even like realistic, like even the
yeah.
sex scenes, it's just like not even like how normal people act.
Juliana's like, this isn't how it works. I'll show you.
Yeah, that's not where it goes. Yeah, no.
It doesn't go in her ear. What the fuck is this?
You know what I mean? Like, there's just like a scene where they're like eating ice cream or whatever, and they're like, I think they're like in a cabin with a bunch of their friends, and they just start like fucking on the table with like ice cream everywhere. And I'm like, hold on, your friends are just in the other room. Like that's.
I mean, people would totally do that now.
Well, yeah, but
been
like
to enough parties. Just saying, I've definitely probably seen that.
There's just people fucking openly in the kitchen. That's terrible.
College. Well, not like in the kitchen, but I mean, like, you know.
They were in the kitchen with the ice cream.
Okay, they were in the
They're
kitchen.
Not even in their own room.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought you meant they were in their own room with ice cream, and I was like, that's not that weird. But
nope.
Got it. In the kitchen with the ice cream. That is weird. Yep, I did not see that in college.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was like, dang, you went
that
to
I didn't see.
Parties, sir.
I went to whore college.
That's just actually the name of the university.
Yeah. I failed. I'm a virgin.
I failed. I'm still a virgin. I had to drop out.
I had to drop out. They kicked me out. They were like, this idiot's not having any sex.
Yep. They're like, dude, you're not improving.
Get him out of here.
They're like, you're just not exceeding your standards anymore. We're gonna have to ask you to leave. I'm sorry.
It's so funny how movies like that and Twilight came out, and we all thought that the actors were awful, and then they were in all these other things, and we're like, oh, they're actually really good. It's just these movies suck ass. Like Twilight, both of them fucking kill it in other movies. 50 Shades, both of them super fucking good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all amazing actors, and I'm like, that's so funny that for these shitty movies, they got all these amazing actors before they were anything, and they did jack shit with them, and they made them sound like morons. Like, I don't remember which fucking one, but somewhere where he's like, because I'm 50 Shades of fucked up, and you're like, what? and they made that one up, and then the honest trailer was like, and here's a bunch of lines that thankfully didn't make it into the movie, and they were reading these things, and they're just the most ridiculous things you've ever heard. And he's like, yep, these are real from the book. This is nuts.
Yeah,
like, it's
I read
just,
some of the first
gracious.
book. Like, I read, like, the beginning of it, and then, like, I read to, like, the first sex scene, and was like, this is just so stupid. Like,
not enough color.
Not enough color. No, it was just like, it was really awkward. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, she's like a virgin talking about her virginity and stuff and being like, yeah, I'm not a virgin. That's right. I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, this is really awkward. And then she's like, then I felt a sheath of sweat all over my body and I started convulsing. And I was like, this is bad.
I hope that's the way the book reads. It's just like,
yeah.
I don't think that's how it works.
Radiating from my pussy. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, all right, that's enough.
Radiating from my V-box. You're like, what the fuck is going on
my
with this writing, dude?
Yeah. She just had like all inner monologue. Like the whole thing was mostly her character. Like it's kind of like Bella. She was like that in Twilight a lot of the time. So it just like it doesn't translate well on screen with characters like that.
It also doesn't translate well in the book, but
yeah, exactly.
I think she was in some interview where she was like, I write it on my BlackBerry, and I was like, okay, how good can that be?
He has like burns on his chest from cigarette burns, and then like Rita Ora busts in and he's like, I found your kidnapper. It's the lady who put these cigarette burns on us. And then the movie ends. And then
what?
Like, yeah.
Huh?
It was literally like that. And then it was like, I'm gonna kill you. And like the lady like tried to shoot the main guy, and then
this thing's about sex, isn't it?
That's why the last movie was so weird, because I was like, where's the sex?
Someone's full on getting murdered and we're like, oh boo, where's the sex?
No, like they were in a chase scene. So speaking of
what
the
fuck?
The car commercial. So they kept zooming in on the cars, you know, like driving through like this wooded area, and
Lexus,
then, like,
it has the word sex in it. Like, wait, no, it fucking doesn't.
Les sexes. and then like they pull into like, I don't know,
her pussy.
Like Yeah, they just parked the whole car in there. And then, I'm pretty sure the movie takes place in Seattle. I want to say I saw the Space Needle.
Of course it does.
Like they were like flying a helicopter around the Space Needle or something like that. At one point, because Twilight takes place in Washington, so I think that's
Great.
why.
That makes it even worse.
They're in the chase scene. They pull up into like a harbor area in Seattle where there's a bunch of cars parked, and then like the other Lexus just like drives past them, and they're like, "I think we got away safe," and then they start just fucking right there in broad daylight in the middle of this like really full parking lot, and I'm like, okay, all right, and I think those are like the only sex scenes in the movie.
Boo.
Yeah,
Cars 2 had more nudity.
Yeah, that's right. I saw her hubcap. It was right there. She opened her trunk. It was crazy, bro.
Oh my word. Someone had a TikTok. Again, it wasn't like theirs. Like, I hate it when people just record stuff from movies, but this one was actually funny because the caption was something like, man, Pixar was going wild back in the day. And it was some clip from Cars 2 where the guy's like, you talked to a lot of cars last night. Which one was your associate? And the one was like, your mother. Oh, I'm just kidding. It's your sister. I can't tell them apart these days. And she's like, oh. And then the first comment was, and right after this, he bursts into flame, and he does. Like, Cars 2 full on kills cars, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't like a terrorist like thing or something.
Yeah, everyone hated Cars 2 for some reason. I was like, dude, Cars 2 was good. What are you talking about? I like Cars 2.
I remember watching it, but I don't remember the plot. I remember them pretending to be like eco-friendly cars, but then they were actually like secretly gas guzzlers or something, and
yes,
killing all the eco-friendly cars or something.
Wow, that's not the same as real anyway.
And that was all I remembered liking about it, because I was like, whoa, oh, and they were part of the government too.
Julianna's like, I watch Cars 2 for the economy plot.
Yeah, me, yes. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's crazy, bro.
Biden got COVID, you saw that?
Did you see like him talking like yesterday or something? Like
I don't watch any of that stuff, so
I wasn't listening to the video. My brother was just like holding it up to me and was like, "Check him out in this." And then like I was just staring at it, and he's like, "You notice anything?" And I'm like, "This man is not blinking." And he's like, "This man didn't blink once." And I was like, "Gee," and I'm like, "You're right, dude." And then he's like, "I swear I was trying to have a staring contest with him to see if I could not blink the entire time, and I couldn't." I feel like he looked like AI or something. Like he had to be like a deep fake or something.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
people keep saying that. I'm like, dude, it's so easy. Months? It's so easy to spot deep fakes. It's not a fucking deep fake.
Bruh, look at the video.
I don't look at the video. It's not. It's just not. It's
not like uncanny. Fake. He's not like
I'll take a look.
Like a normal human. I don't know. Maybe the video my brother showed me was actually like altered or something. Because,
I mean, how many staged like videos has Biden had so far in his presidency? Like, he's always speaking at events, yeah, but I mean, how many like closed corridor production videos has he done? You know, they probably tried to make him look as healthy as possible, and because of that, he's already out the door anyway. So he's just like, there's a green screen dude like holding, like in the green suit, like holding him up by his waist, so he's like standing. It's like, hello, America. Yes. And like they're like waving his arms and everything.
Yeah. We made that joke so long ago about him just being the meat puppet where, like, he died, and everybody's, like, joking, like, oh, did he die of COVID? And I'm like, no, I feel like he would have been dead, like, a while ago.
Oh, have you seen Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie?
No, but I want to.
You should. It's so weird that it's so, like, I don't understand how it's so, what do you call it, like, there's so much discourse about it. Like, people are either like, this is great, or they're like, this is fucking awful.
I've already seen so much about it. Like, I just avoid
I'm so
everything.
confused. Yeah,
I've
just
avoided
avoid
everything because, like, I don't want to see any spoilers, but everything is, like, you know, like, you just see, like, titles of like,
right.
people's opinions on it, or, like, the first line of what they're saying, and you're like, oh, I see they're talking about this skirt, and then, like, you know, you don't want to read it anymore, but
yeah,
so many people are either like, oh, it's so good, or other people are like, I think, like, we're just, like, putting Jordan Peele to like this like god tier standard, and we're like looking at him too intensely, like through a lens, like, you know, like when Get Out came out and he was like pulling the stuff out of the chair to like cover his ears so he couldn't hear the ringing of the cup and stuff, and like everybody was commenting on it like, oh, it's the cotton, like he's putting cotton in his ears because like that's showing like years of slavery and like all these connections, and then like he was like Jordan Peele's like, yeah,
I saw that interview.
That's what I meant.
It's so
and I'm
funny.
like,
and his response wasn't like, you could tell he was like kind of annoyed by it. He wasn't like, yeah, like he was like, yeah, like he just was kind of like, you could tell he was like kind of like, I don't know, he seemed kind of annoyed by it. But I'm just gonna say this, like, because the movie review page that I run on TikTok is almost always filled with comments that are telling me I'm wrong, which I don't care. Like, I know
that's
they're gonna say
what you
that.
kind of expect.
Because it's like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I can fully believe a movie sucks ass, but I am glad if you enjoy it, because at the end of the day, that's what movies are for. They're for people to enjoy things. I would much rather you have a positive experience with a movie than a bad one, but I can still say it sucks and I hate it, And same with the other way around.
Same with other way.
And almost always, I'm always a person that's like it's all about your experience. You can't objectively say a movie is good or bad,
Yeah, it has so much to do with like how you're feeling going into it, what happened during the day, what it relates to going on in your life, who you're with when you're watching it, and then like it creates associations of memories and all kinds of stuff. So like literally everyone's experience viewing it will be totally different. So.
But one thing I do think I can make a speculation on is I can objectively say when something's not an awful movie. So there are a bunch of people right now that are saying Nope is a horrible movie. It's just not. You're actually wrong. Like, you can not like it, you can hate it or whatever. I don't know how. It's just not a movie that should spark that much emotion. Like, it's just a monster movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not taking that big a fucking leap. I'm so confused why everyone's so upset by it. Anyway, but it's just, well, both. I mean, it's like, it's getting good reviews. But I mean, I am also seeing, like, this is the first Jordan Peele movie where I'm seeing people just full on saying they fucking hate it. I did not see that with Us and Get Out.
Is it just because it wasn't what they were expecting from it, or like?
Yeah, I think they're just wrong. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I genuinely have never felt more.
More like a reflection of the human experience, like his other movies, probably.
I think you are right in the sense that they've built up way too much of this God image of Jordan Peele. I think he could have done anything and everyone would have still had the same reaction. Like, Logan Paul was in the news because he had this whole giant tweet thread on how it's the worst movie ever. I'm like, why does anyone fucking care what he thinks?
Yeah, you're like...
Shut the fuck up, dude. You're the guy I thought a dude was dead in the woods.
Yeah.
Fucking moron. Why do we still give him anything? Anyway, but like, it's just not I don't know. When you see it, I think you'll just be like, that was good. I liked it. Like, I think that will probably be your reaction. It's like, not the best thing you've ever seen, and it's
I was gonna say,
certainly not the worst.
I watched Us with my friends, and they were like, as soon as it was over, they were like, I didn't like it. And then I was like, I liked it. Like, I thought, like, it was scary in the psychological thriller way, and they also made it, like, kind of funny in some parts, and, the cast was great, and I was like, yeah, like, I had a fun time watching it, and, I kind of had a feeling about what stuff was going to be, but then I was not expecting other things, so I enjoyed that aspect of it, and I think just the ending, it was kind of, like, the message he was trying to get across was kind of, like, blurred kind of at the end, and like with them like all holding hands, and like it's kind of like weird in that aspect, and I think that kind of made the whole rest of the movie fall apart. It was kind of like the ending, but like I thought it was good, so like I was like, I don't know, everybody thought that one was like terrible, and they're like, oh, nothing is ever gonna compare to like Get Out, and I think like that was just like his magnum opus, and everything's just gonna like be bad from here, and everyone's just gonna be comparing him to that, and it's just like this standard he's not gonna live up to, and it's gonna be all this pressure for him to like pump out stuff. I
think Get Out and Us honestly just brought a bunch of people to the movies that generally don't like movies, and so now they're like into all his stuff, but now I hate it. Like, I don't know how else you can have this bad of an opinion on a movie. It's just like, you can totally be bored by it, be not enjoyed by it, but like you cannot say it's like the worst movie ever or like awful, because it's just not. Like, objectively, it's made with a lot of very good special effects, with a lot of good spectacle.
Yeah.
And like, they gave him a ass load of money to make this look fucking good in IMAX, and it looks gorgeous. And people don't know how hard it is. And he always
cast great people. So
and when people don't know how hard it is to film things at night like they do, and it looks really good, and the lighting is perfect, And then the climax of the movie is in the fucking daytime, which I love. Because every fucking climax of every fucking movie nowadays is at night. Every single Disney Plus show, look it up. The 6th episode of every one of those stupid fucking shows is at night. And I fucking hate it because they do it to cover up all their shitty special effects and all that crap. And this movie was in the broad fucking daylight and it looked
Put it
beautiful.
all on display. I want to see it all.
Fucking good. Anyway, I mean, here's my opinion on why I think people think the movie's bad. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And I think it kind of redefined a new direct. Again, with same like Get Out, I think people are going to be trying to copy this a lot now. People are going to be like, oh, let's do these movies now. It's like, no, let him do what he wants.
Really,
you know?
He really ushered in a new era of like black actors being in horror, like where it's like, you know, like the black experience in horror. It's like their lives also being reflected in horror, like Candyman, I guess, is like, you know, they're like, oh, a big message they tried to get across was like, oh, they like what we make, but they don't like us. And it's like, that's like a whole big, you know, and then so like everybody tries to say like, oh, this worked really well, so we're gonna like try to make offshoots of it. So it's
one like again, this is why I hate the news. I mean, I think the news just takes something that's the people that you hear on the internet are already the 1% that have nothing else to do but scream, and that they've got such ridiculous takes on both sides. That's what makes the news. And then the news creates more of the stuff that they're talking about. So it's like the news just kind of directs the mob,
they love
in my
pandemonium.
opinion. Yeah, so I mean, with Nope, I'm pretty sure 99% of people enjoyed Nope. And the news is like, there's this giant divide. It's like, I really don't think there is. I don't know. I don't know. So I think, in my opinion, why people are like confused by this movie somehow are because like Get Out and Us could not be experienced without understanding the subtext. Like you couldn't watch Get Out and be like, wait, it was about racism? Like you couldn't walk away from it without knowing what the fuck was going on. This one can be, I think, enjoyed as both. I think you can just watch it as a horror movie, which works, and then it's got some extra fun.
Undertones.
You know, if you want to, and they're not hard to find either. I mean, like it's easy to see, and the more you dig into it, it's pretty rewarding. But there's not one explanation that explains everything. That's the thing with Us and Get Out, is that everyone was waiting for that moment where, oh, finally the whole metaphor comes together and it all makes sense now. That does not exist in this movie. And it's fine. You're not even left with a lot of questions. Well, it's not like they left me with a lot of questions either. It's just like, it was a movie, and it's kind of the way a lot of movies I think should be, where it's like, there are several themes. You know, it's like back in high school where they were like, find 5 themes in a movie and talk about them. That's what this movie is that he really well, I thought, worked 4 or 5 major themes in this movie that have to do with like humans trying to be God, Black history preservation, what was the other one? Like humanity's obsession with commercializing tragedy. I mean, there's a lot of very distinct themes that all kind of interweave, and you can see each of those paths in this movie, and I think it all works. So I mean, I think it was actually really smart, and I think it looked great. I don't understand why I think it's just everyone was sitting there like not paying attention. They were like, okay, what's the key? What's the key? What's the key? And then the key never really comes, and they're like, well, this sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of like the trope where it's like you're expecting, you know, something to happen. I think that's the problem. Like, what's and the twist?
That does ruin experiences. So like Seven is this movie that everyone's always like coming about. They're like, oh, it's the best fucking movie ever. when I saw it, I thought, for some reason I had it in my head that someone spoiled it for me and told me that Morgan Freeman was the bad guy, which he's not.
Morgan Freeman.
So Morgan Freeman in the movie is the detective. So the whole time I'm watching the movie, I'm putting together in my head the greatest plot ever of how he's actually the one behind all this shit. And then you get to the end, that's not the way it works.
You should write fanfic of that.
I was like, and I was disappointed.
Alternate universe.
The movie was disappointing. And even without the disappointment, I really don't think in my opinion, it's not as good as everyone talks about. But I mean, my initial experience was not good because of that. So I mean, that can definitely be the case why people think it's bad. But I mean, I could never look at Seven and say that's a terrible movie, that's awful, or the worst thing. I mean, it's just not. So I think it's kind of silly that everyone. It's kind of mean to Jordan Peele. Like, it's his third movie. Like, shut the fuck up and just, if you didn't like it,
right?
move on. Like, he doesn't owe you a single fucking thing. Just shut up and go home. Like, so confused why everyone thinks it's their duty to save the public or whatever. Just no one cares.
They're like, somebody's just expecting too much from him. They're like, what's the
expecting
overarching
way too
thing
much.
that he's trying to say about society right now? There's got to be one overarching thing, man.
Yeah.
It's like how everybody's like, all right, M. Night Shyamalan movie, there's going to be a twist, there's going to be a twist, there's going to be a twist, and everybody's just trying to predict what the twist is the whole time.
And once you know there's a twist, it ruins the twist because you're looking for it. The best movies, like, that's why I will never make a top 10 best twist, because if people know they're coming, it ruins it.
That's
best, and that's why I haven't watched trailers in 4 years. I'm not even going to say what the movie is in case other people haven't seen it, but I saw this movie. I hadn't seen any trailers. It was the first movie I've just like, I'll just watch it. And there was a twist in there, and it blew my fucking mind. And to this day, it's one of my best movie experiences. And since that day, I was like, I'm never watching trailers again. Because if you look up the trailer of that movie, it kind of gives it away. And I'm like, that sucks. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what our deal is wanting to spoil things. But anyway, I think you'll really enjoy it. But that's just me. I don't want to set you up either. If you don't enjoy it, I still want to hear it as well.
Jordan Peele's stuff, so like, I'll probably like it regardless, because like even with us, like my friends didn't like it, and I was like, oh, I like that. So
I think he's genuinely going to be like this. I think he's going to be a Spielberg. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things where like every movie, even if it's like or really good, it's going to hit. Everyone's going to want to go see it. But like, it's kind of unhealthy to everyone have this obsession over him. You know, it's like even the best directors of all time. You look at their filmography, and there's like 10 movies in there that you've never heard of, or they suck ass. I mean, it's like you gotta be allowed to
breathe.
Yeah, no kidding.
Give him some creative freedom to like, take liberties, make mistakes.
Good golly.
Be experimental with stuff.
Sorry to just we're so
no, you're
two
fine.
people with trains of thought that derail constantly.
Movie.
The most shocking ending to a movie ever, in my opinion, is The Truman Show. It hit me like a fucking train. And I mean like the last 10 seconds. I don't even mean like the ending. But I mean like the whole movie happens. I won't say what happens, but I mean everyone's happy at the end. And I was like, nice, casual, regular ending. This is what I expected. And the last thing those two people say, the guy's like, nice. All right, what's on the next channel? And I was like,
That's what fucked you up about it?
Yeah, because that's exactly what we do. We see this shit, we get emotional about it, and then we're like,
it's like
all
the
right,
biggest
anyway.
thing.
Yeah, like you move on. And it's like, that's why that hit me so hard. I'm like, dude, nothing's gonna fucking change. It's just depressing. So you watch Nightcrawler, and I'm like, everyone should look at this and kill these like news channels, and we still have them and everything.
It's what happens, yeah. And also like, I hate that people on the internet are like, oh my gosh, he's just like me, like this character's like me, and I'm like, hold on. I
hope not.
Actually a psycho.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is really.
Well, that's the same way people. That's the same way people look at Joker and all that other stuff. It's like Joker's not supposed to be you.
Yeah,
but it's like you shouldn't want to be.
Person.
Yeah.
He's not a cartoon like caricature of like evil, crazy, deranged guy. He's like a person that could exist, and the fact that people are like, oh my god, this part when he's like this with the woman, oh, that's exactly how I am, and I'm like, hold on,
Ew.
didn't he like blackmail like
he manipulated
not
the fuck
blackmail,
out of them.
but he
yeah, the end of that movie's it's a good movie because it's a bad movie. Yeah, I don't know what, maybe we were talking about her and my phone and stuff hears. But, like, my For You page had several Lady Gaga, like, clips from interviews and stuff. And I never knew how fucking, like, just funny and not give a shit she was. But I'm like, man, she's great.
She's also, like, an eloquent speaker. Like, when she's being serious, she's really good.
And even as a kid, when I didn't know who these people were, I still remember when there was a whole controversy about whether or not she had a dick or not. I mean, that is a weird thing to remember. But, I mean, I saw a clip from an interview where she's talking about it, and she's like...
And then she's like, who cares?
And? Yeah. And I was like, I love her.
Yeah, and she's literally like, I'm pretty sure my fan base would be, like, the last people who care about that. And it's like, if you care about that, then don't listen to me. Like, I love seeing the comments on stuff, like, where somebody makes like a joke. Like I was watching like the GUY video, and somebody was like, OMG, I can't believe Lady Gaga invented power bottoms, and I was like, ha ha ha, and then the comments under it were like, no she didn't, and it was like, dude, it's a joke, and then they started going off about like a tangent about being like, and that she's not a man, and that's for gay people, and then like all this like homophobic stuff started popping up, and then the person who made the original comment was like, wait, why are homophobic people listening to Lady Gaga? And I was like, true!
Yeah, true.
I was like, you're just gonna be repulsed by like everything on here, and like, you don't have to listen to this. So yeah, I remember my parents just thinking she was so weird, and I was like, yeah, but I think it's cool. She's like commenting on how weird all the fame is, and like she's being a character right now. Like this isn't real. She's trying to like make it a spectacle on purpose. And my parents are like, no, I think she just doesn't want to be Madonna. And I remember that was one of the angriest I got like at my dad. And here I am like 11 years old. Like we were sitting at like a buffet, and my dad was like, she sucks. Like she just wishes she was Madonna. And I remember just like smacking my hands up and going and getting food, like leaving the table to go get more food just because I needed to cool down. I was like,
11-year-old needs to cool down.
Yeah, I was like, you don't know anything. She'll show you. She'll prove to you. Isn't it so weird that what's her face? Lupita, I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Lupita Nyong'o, I think.
Nyong'o. She's in Star Wars, but they have her be like the ugly alien lady who's in there for like 1 second. Like I remember
that was her?
Yeah, I remember seeing the cast list come out, and I was excited because I was like, she's in this, and I thought like because they were saying there was going to be a black stormtrooper who like defected, and I thought it was going to be her. And I was like, oh, that's sick. And then I saw like, like an ad and it was like Poe or whatever, and
Juliana's like,
Finn, and it was Finn's character, and I was like, oh, it's a dude. And I was just like waiting for her to come up, and she never came up in the movie. So I did Google what her character was, and it was like, oh, she was the big-eyed alien who gave Luke's lightsaber to Rey in that one scene. And I was like, are you serious?
She was Maz?
Yeah, she was Maz.
That was like a CGI. That wasn't even a person.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're kidding. Yeah. That was her? No, it wasn't. No, it fucking wasn't.
I Googled it because I specifically remember being disappointed.
I will kill myself if that's her. What is the first movie even called? I forget. Rise of
Force
Hope?
Awakens? Rise of Hope?
Yeah.
I remember people saying like, oh...
It was her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
I was like, why would they do this?
What the fuck? They made her the little fucking shit with like asshole eyes. What the hell?
Yeah. She did. She kind of did have butthole eyes.
Oh, don't even get me started on Star Wars. I'm gonna get pissed.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about those movies.
Man, I mean, I don't normally get like super starstruck by people, but I mean, I'm watching Us, and I'm like, how is anyone focusing right now when she's like fucking gorgeous?
I think there was like a weird time where like Jared Leto and her had like a thing.
Oh,
do you remember
no,
that?
Please,
and
no.
I was like, no!
No,
I remember specifically being like, bruh.
Don't hurt my wife.
Yeah, I was like, why him? I was like,
out
please.
of every other person on earth, why him? Icky. Oh,
yeah, obviously it's not a thing anymore, but I remember everybody like shipping them so hard, and they were like, think about how beautiful their babies would be. And I'm like, ew.
Ew. I was gonna say, what do you mean? How is he beautiful? Fucking rat-haired little shit.
Rat-haired! I mean, he looks fantastic for 50. Like, you have to admit his genetics are like
if he would
great.
Cut his hair, yeah. Why does he keep his hair long? Did he take some kind of weird serial killer oath? I'm confused why he still has long hair.
He's had the Jesus hair for a while. I remember seeing like
gross.
a collage of photos of him where it showed like every few months he would change his hair, like in the early 2000s. He was always doing such crazy stuff with his hair, and then like
Fight Club hair looked good.
Yeah, that was a cool one. He was always just doing like crazy stuff with his hair all the time, like dyeing it, and then he kind of had like the emo phase.
It's like
when
the
we were
Dennis
in middle
Rodman
school.
of the acting world.
Yeah, he just so many hair changes, and then he hit the Jesus hair phase, and he's just never changed it since. I think he's got highlights a couple times. He's got ombre in it, but like
It looks
overall,
really
Jesus
thin
hair.
and ratty. It looks really gross. I really don't like it.
It's really gross.
I'm just saying, some people can pull it off, and he is not one of those people.
You're like, I'm cutting it off. If I see him, I'm coming.
If
out
I
with
see
a
him,
pair
I
of
would cut.
scissors.
Well, if I did, I would like look up, and his hand would be in my heart somehow. He will have. We'll find out later that like he went out in the wilderness and found a way from some shaman on how to penetrate someone's rib cage in a swift movement and steal their heart.
You know,
And he's gonna crush it in front of me and be like, "That was a mistake. I should not have done this." This doesn't have anything to do with anything. For some reason, I thought of HQ trivia, and I wrote it down in the little topic
I remember
book.
you wrote that.
Do you guys
like,
remember
oh my god,
HQ
I used
trivia?
to love HQ trivia, and I used to think the host was so funny.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I think because I was like, because we didn't. Wow, I can't speak. A great podcast today, guys. And so where I was from, and with my background, I did not get to be in on all of the things that like took over our like group of ages. You know what I mean? But HQ trivia was like I was. Right, so, but HQ Trivia is one of those things, like, I got to be in on it, like, it had a fucking hold on me. We just stopped doing whatever we were doing in college to be in on HQ
like
Trivia.
sophomore year of college? Or...
Yeah, I don't remember, but I mean, it was
like
a whole year where, like, we would just, we would be like, shut the fuck up, like, we'd be at a fucking funeral doing HQ Trivia, like, I mean, it was wild.
I loved it, like, everybody,
man.
it was just, like, in the middle of anything. I think I still have, like, video of it, like, on my phone. One time I was at like a club meeting and I already lost the round, and I was just like recording all my friends, like I'm sitting there like eating the snacks and everybody's just like intensely looking at their phone, and you just hear the like a host on everybody's phone echoing all at the same time, you know, like talking over, and it's like, so the question, and I'm just like
it's just so funny because I just remember like we were in our teacher was driving us. We were going to some extracurricular school event, and we're doing it in his back seat, and he's like,
"You're doing it?"
Yeah, we were fucking in his back seat.
Woo!
This is our teacher who's Turkish and has the best accent in the world. I love Turkish accents. But he looks in the back seat, he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "We're playing this game called HQ Trivia, and like if you win, you get a bunch of money." And he like, we're at a stop sign, so he like stops the car. He's like, "Okay," and he turns around. He's like, "If you win money in my car, you pay me some." And he got super straight faced, and we're like, and he's like, "Okay, off we go." And I was like, "That good one."
That's really funny. Good.
And like I remember we were in Colorado, and like we're all just sitting there playing it, and like we're all trying to get in on it. I remember once I was one question away. I was one fucking question away. I was so mad.
That happened to me too, and I was like on the last one, and I was like, I know nothing about this topic. Everybody, what's the answer? And like 50-50 split between these two answers of everybody saying it, and I'm like, I don't know, and then I just pick one, and it's the other one, and I'm like,
yeah, I forget what times of the day it was at, but I mean, it would be in class, like everybody would have their phones out on their desk.
There was a morning one, like after a while there was a morning one, an afternoon one, and then an evening one.
Yeah, there was two, I think, yeah. And it was so popular, but like it's so wild that they like really couldn't make money off that, and like it had to stop. Like it's just wild that something that had that big of a hold on the country like couldn't make any money. It's just crazy. Yeah, it was a really smart idea. It's the first time that's ever like happened, and no one's tried since then, which is also kind of wild. Or like at least it never took quite a hold of. Yeah, I mean, if there was one that came out, we didn't fucking hear about it. But...
No, and then like they also got like celebrities to host like
they did
topics. Like just really quickly. I was like, how'd they made it happen so fast? I was like, what? Or like they'd just have like a random special guest on like one question. It would just be like the thing cuts away and
like
it's
here's
just,
the
like,
Rock on question 7. Oh, we said the same person.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because he was on there. He was.
Was he actually? Of course he was.
Yeah.
Why is he in every movie? I'm so
He's
mad.
in everything.
He literally is. He was in all the stuff that just happened. He's in this new Black Adam. He's the voice of the fucking dog and this stupid other shit. The voice of this other thing in this other thing. I mean, he's in like 5 movies a year. I'm
How much
so
money
confused.
is he making, man?
And he's fine, but like
so
he's not that good. I don't know. Oh yeah. I think I saw something that said that his contracts are that he does at least 3 movies a year, and they have to be at least $30 million.
Oh!
$30 million per movie. That's before merchandising and all that other shit. So he's making $90 million purely if he just went to the movies and went home. That is fucking obscene. No one needs that much fucking money. No one does.
I hope he does something great with it.
1/90th of the money that he makes in a year
would
mean that
life.
I could retire.
Yeah, it would change your life. You know, like with the
that
Mega
frustrates
Millions
me.
thing right now, isn't it at like $1 billion now or something?
Yeah, it's bullshit. I don't even know.
It's bullshit. I think it's so funny how everybody just like starts buying it all at once, and then it makes it go up so much faster all of a sudden. Like it's just going millions and millions.
Every 2 years, everyone starts getting in on it again. Like, oh, this will be the one, and everyone splits a ticket 12 ways. And I'm like, you realize that would be a good movie actually. Having a movie about like 12 guys or like people in an office. Like splitting a lottery ticket, then winning, and then each like somehow killing each other off one by one.
But that's not how I expected it to go. I thought it was gonna go.
No, I was thinking more like them actually like just taking each other. I was thinking more like a comedy horror. I think that'd be funny. I'll have to write it down.
That's how it would be though. Greed for sure that's a big motivator.
Greed theme. Greed. Oh, that's something I was gonna mention earlier with the movies we were talking about. Is that there's so many things that people make now that are like supposed to be like. Look how bad, like, humanity and these people are getting, and everyone's like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, wait, hold on, what?
Yeah.
You're saying you want to be this guy? Like...
Yeah. No, it's the fact that they already are like that guy. You're like, hold on a minute. You should not be.
You should not be at all. And I completely forgot the point I was trying to make with that, because I had a specific character in mind. Oh, Breaking Bad, because I was watching Better Call Saul. But, like, everybody was obsessed with Breaking Bad, and, like, I finally watched it, and I was like, why do you like some of these people? They're all terrible.
Yeah, they're all terrible.
There are no redeemable characters. Like, and don't get me wrong, it is made so well, that show. But, I mean, the point he's making pretty much is greed, and, like, how it just completely ruins and like, he had a chance to walk away in season 2 or 3 or whatever that was, and he just fucking didn't, and, like, it all goes downhill for everyone, and he ruins everyone's lives, like... That's the point. Everyone's like, that's me. And you're like, huh?
Yeah, he didn't even just ruin, like, his life. They went as far as to be like, all right, his direct decisions made consequences that made planes crash into each other and blow up and destroy, like, a town with the shrapnel. And I was like, they really did that, huh? Why'd they do that in this show? I was like, holy shit.
Well, it's like I could write it'd be an interesting paper to write on why we love Better Call Saul way more than why is Jimmy so much more of an interesting and rootable character than Walter White, and that is really interesting conversation. Not one for today, but
not one for today.
Oh, because it could just that gets long, but
yeah.
Anyway.
But I have so many friends who just like they love Walter. Like it's like you want to root for the villain. Like
I do not.
I have a lot of friends who are like, oh, I just want to see, like, Darth Vader go and, like, kill everybody. Like, isn't being bad so badass? Like...
There's a difference between Darth Vader killing people and Walter White winning. I would be totally okay watching Darth Vader kill a bunch of people. As long as it's cool. Like, Walter White is the most irredeemable character.
You're like, he's just a middle-aged, bald guy.
No, he's just evil. I mean, there's nothing rootable about him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could ever like him. I mean, the point of the whole thing is that you're not supposed to like him. Anyway.
Dude, I just saw this bruise on my leg. Do you see it?
Nice leg.
It's like a heart-shaped bruise.
I see it.
I smacked it on, like, one of the machines yesterday on accident. I was, like, lifting my leg up above it and was like, ah!
Nice.
My dad just called me, like, 5 times.
Oh, shut up. He's fine. He'll be fine.
It's about dinner.
We do need to end it up anyway.
Yeah?
So.
I was like, I already did my part of dinner.
We fired Nick. We decided that...
This is only going to be about movies now. And no horror movies, Nick.
I'm considering maybe at some point in the future, like, doing a movies podcast, because like we start to talk about them and we kind of cut ourselves off because like we don't want to spend a half hour talking about a movie that a bunch of people haven't seen, but like it's stuff that I want to talk about. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to have that be like a rotating podcast where it's like, I'll probably be on most of them, but like it's one where it's just like, 5 people that are like in the group, and it's like whoever's available is available and whoever's not doesn't matter because like we could talk about movies forever. So I think that'd be a fun thing to do at some point. But it would be easy. It would be even easier than to record than this one because it would really just be a fully fucking upload, you know. Yeah. But the other thing out was The Gray Man on Netflix, which apparently is going to be in a universe, which that's depressing. Universe. Well, I hope the next one's good. Well, it was directed by the Russo brothers. It's got Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Yeah. I was like, this sounds awesome, and it was boring.
I was like, look, they got the robot wife from Blade Runner, and they got Blade Runner in this.
Did you just do not diss Ana de Armas like that, you whore? She's wasted again. She continues to be wasted in movies. It drives me insane.
I love her. And like in Knives Out, so good. So good. Yeah.
She's good in everything. It's just sad that I guess people don't know what to do with her. But I don't know why people like Ryan Gosling so much. He always looks like he's about ready to fall asleep. He's never... Like, there's a couple movies he's in that he's really good. But I mean, it's like when you just need like a boring white guy to stand in for a main role, like
I think that's what they cast him as. Yeah, I think they purposely...
And he's never been more tired than in this movie. He's so...
He's tired.
They took away any charisma that he had and reduced it to nothing. And it's so blah. And
but at least he'll get to play Ken.
The one thing I will say is that the Russo brothers make their punches feel like real punches.
No.
Because people get fucking hit and I can fucking feel it.
No, I can feel it in my jaw.
I can feel it in my ass.
Oh.
Wait, what, dude?
I'm getting pounded, bro. Alright, I need to go eat my chicken.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.